Hello dear friends, welcome to Monday and to my studio in Montreal. Today a very special day. First of all, we have 35,000 subscribers on my channel, and this is you. And I want to say thank you very much for your time, for your support, and I'm really happy that I have you on my channel. That's why today I want to make a gift for you to say thank you. This Monday, instead of the 15 minutes video, you will see the full lesson about the portraits. The kind of same lessons you will find on my website watercoloronline.com this Monday. This is for free for you. And Merry Christmas. Stay healthy, enjoy the video. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me. And see you in the next year. Hello dear friends, welcome to my studio in Montreal and to our course. Today we're gonna learn basic idea. Each lesson we will make the portrait in the different way. So my goal to explain the different way, different position, different ideas. And finally you can choose which way is the best for you. That's the idea. So today we will make painting starting from wet on wet and use the dry brush like a second step. Plus, today we learn the negative space a little bit and I will explain how it's important. So we're starting from the sketch. I have a half of the imperial size Saunders Waterford 300 grams rough paper, and don't be wrong with the sketch. You don't have to make the perfect drawing. What you have to do, you have to measure your space. That's important. Only that things. Just plan for the future project, but not carefully made blueprint. You know what I mean. So in the beginning I just make a few lines to measure the space what I want to use for my sketch, and that will be my beginning. So I don't want to put the head right on the center, I move it a little bit to the left, that will be better. So now I measure my space approximately and can start to care about this a little bit more carefully. And do not afraid to make the dark lines on your paper. For sure it will be great if you will be delicate and touch your paper soft. But if it will be really dark, I know the secret how to erase your pencil and still see your sketch. I will show you. We have a very nice lady on the photo with a great mood and perfect light. That's why I like this portrait. By the way, that's another one important idea. Do not try to paint the subjects. Try to paint the light. So as I say, we don't have to care about our sketch perfectly, but we'll try to measure the space correctly. That's only what I want to care about. And you know, if finally your sketch will look a little bit different, not like exactly like this lady, no matter. Don't be precise with that. Let's say we're learning some ideas, some techniques, but till nobody ordered you to make exactly that lady, feel free to change it. And please don't sketch the shape of the shadows, like shadow from the glasses. Feel free to change it in the future. If you don't like that shape, you can put it a little bit different position. So perfect made sketch never give you freedom to change your painting, to move with all the freedom to dance on your paper, to produce nice art. Don't be precise with the sketch, because the sketches look like you're tired. After that, you have to take exactly the right colors and put it exactly on the right place, because it's already on your paper. It's drawing. You know, finally it will be very close to painting by numbers. To avoid that, please don't make perfect sketch. So we don't have to do more, and I promised to show you how to erase a little bit what you did. For example, let's make the lines here a little bit more darker for our eye. You know, that I'm starting to paint it, the line's going to be a problem for me from this moment, because it's too visible and it's too dark. And anyway, I want to make the soft watercolor, and this line can destroy my painting. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna use the soft eraser like this and do that. So you see, for now I still have my sketch, but it's almost invisible. So I just make a few corrections to keep the lines what I really need. And other lines you just can ignore, no matter. So this is approximately our sketch. We don't have to do more. And we starting to prepare our paper. For this I'm gonna use a big brush and put the water on the front, on the back. You know, honestly, it will be much better if you take your paper and put it in the shower completely. It will be really much better for the 10 minutes. But because there is no shower in my studio, we just take the brush and put the water everywhere. A lot of water. So idea is I'm trying to make a big lake on my paper. And as I say, on the front side and on the back as well. We have to wait, we couldn't start to paint directly. You have no idea how extremely important that. To understand this, try to understand first what is the paper. The paper is a lot of fibers. It's like that. And between fibers we have a lot of air. So your job for now to remove the air completely and put the water between fibers instead of air. That, exactly that, make your paper ready for painting wet on wet. If you have some air inside, that means your paper is starting to dry faster. First, second, it will be unpredictable how your pigment is going to move. That's why I make it again, again and again, till I'm starting to feel what my paper, it's not feels like a cardboard anymore. Starting to feel like a paper tower. That means your paper is ready. Another one very important thing. You see, after I put the water, I use my brush with a huge pressure. I'm trying to remove the air between my paper and my board completely. So just the water, not air. If you have something like a bulb there, it's gonna be a problem, because here in that place the paper is drying faster and you will lose your control. So I remove the extra water. And the colors. First of all, I'm use the big brush for almost all my project. Instead of using a lot of different brushes, I'm going to use two of them. I will use this one and this. It's a calligraphy brush, pointy and very flexible. At the same moment, it's very strong here and great for mixing colors. And this one is a very specific brush. It's made special for me. You can find information about this brush on my YouTube channel. We have a special issue in the video about the brushes, mine brushes, and you can find it on my website watercoloronline.com. If you don't have this, you can use any one different brush. It's up to you, your favorite. Just idea of the flat brush. First of all, it's giving me less time for paint. I can be faster. It's take a lot of pigments and I can put it very fast on the paper. Second one, it's very tiny brush. I can make the tiny lines at the same moment. And the colors, as I say, mine colors for skin will be Quinacridone Sienna, little bit Perylene Violet. For the shadows, we starting to use less Quinacridone Sienna and started to mix that with Indigo. Honestly, all the portrait I will paint in 4 colors. Indigo, Quinacridone Sienna, Perylene Violet and a little bit Cobalt for the hair. That's it. So that's the mix between Quinacridone Sienna, Perylene Violet, here is Indigo, and you see the Cobalt. Somewhere I want to leave the highlights, but the question is how to leave the highlights and clear white paper if we have the water everywhere. This is the answer, the paper tower. So I just remove the water somewhere where I want to keep the highlights, and that will be my solution. Now you can see how it works. You see, my water doesn't move there, so I can keep it like a real highlight. And then you painting, always change your mix, make it a little bit different. Plus, do not focusing on the shape now. We care about the shape a little bit later, then we're starting to make the shadows. So for now, you see, I paint everywhere. Forget it about the nose, lips or something. We just have a big shapes, big light and the big shadows. In the beginning I cover almost all the paper with my mix, and after that we're gonna make something inside. When you paint in wet on wet, you are really flexible, because if you don't like some part, it's very easy to remove it and repaint. So as you can see, I have my highlights, so I don't want to touch them. And I approximately create the big shape here. I'm not touching the hair for now, but I will do that later. And for this I have to prepare that connection. That means I take the just indigo and somewhere make some border between the hair, which we make later, and the skin. But for now it's gonna be blend, and that's great. No worries about that at all. It's just the preparation of the background. So what I'm gonna do now, I'm starting to build a soft shadow here, not a strong shadow. I mean, not the shadow from the glasses, not the shadow from the nose. I just trying to build the shape of the face, very softly, with a very soft touching. If you think what some part too dark, you can wash out the pigments. I will show you how to do this. Look, I clean my brush. I'm use the paper towel to remove the water from my brush and take the pigments off like this. So like this way we can bring some lights inside. I switched to the same brush but a little bit less size to create some soft touching. Wash out again. Don't be wrong, we still not create the strong shadows, it's just the soft gradients, nothing more. And remember, then it's going to dry, all the colors will be much lighter. That means you have to try to predict how it will be look like in the 15 minutes. So it will be look a little bit lighter, a little bit different. And do not expect a result right now. Try to think in time. And now time to care about the space for eyes. Again, we're not painting the eyes now, we're preparing this space for eyes. And we still use just the 3 colors here, not more. As you can see, your pencil now almost invisible, and definitely don't make a problem for you. Wash out to bring the light. Then you make a washout. Remember, you have to clean your brush again and again and again, a few times. You see, my paper is starting to dry. That means I can care about the shapes a little bit more carefully. That's what I'm doing now. I'm gonna paint with the more darker pigments. But it's still very soft. If you want to bring some highlight, use the paper towel again. And that's the dry brush. Some reflection. Because of the reflection, our subject is going to be look like a 3D now, which is good. And the first time in our project today, I will start to use the negative space. So I remove the water here, make the dark mix between Quinacridone, Sienna and a lot of Indigo. And do this. But after that I softly connect it to my painting. That's my first strike with a negative space. And now I back to face again and still can play with it a little bit, not too much, because it's still wet. And keep in your mind what you always can back to any part and make it much lighter, like I'm doing now. Just wash out the pigments. So my first step making wet on wet is done. I just make a few last touching around the hair to bring some colors inside that. But that's it. After that we have to wait and back to our project in 10 minutes. But my advice, don't use the hairdryer. Leave your pigments, water and paper to build good relationship, to know each other, to make a good connection. That helps you a lot. In that case, your painting always will look more natural. So I'll take a little bit Cobalt and just make a few touching like this. Not too much. And now wait. As you can see, we have a very soft gradients everywhere. This is our soft background. And that's exactly what we need. Because for now, I'm starting to use a dry brush to put the second layer. And because of the dry brush and the negative space, we create the shape of our subject. Don't be wrong with my paper. It's dry a little bit, just on front. So I can touch my paper and the pigment's safe. But on the back side, you can see this. It's a lot of water. So that means I can play on my background and I have a time for that. So we starting from exactly background. Honestly, I never doing this normally, but we learning, we study idea of the negative space. So that's why for now we're starting from the background. Mostly I'm gonna use the Indigo for that, but before I'm starting to do something, I'll take the clear water and put it here like this. And plus, I'm starting to use my calligraphy brush. As I say, I'm paint mostly with the Indigo. So let's start. I switch to the 5 lines brush. I blend it here. More darker point. And because we're preparing our water there, I can softly blend it like this. That's the trick. Plus, I want to use kind of shine effect. If I want to show the light better, I can use the washout on here. So see what I'm doing. And the lights immediately come into our painting like that, soft and nice. Plus, we can build some tiny lines. That's why I like that brush. So what I can do, I can make it dry and by my fingers build the shape. You see, it's really tiny. So for now I can make this. I back to my calligraphy brush. and using my 3 lines brush and mix between Cobalt and the Indigo, I'm gonna make the hair. If you want to be perfect with the hair and create the texture of the hair, you can use the calligraphy brush for this job, like this. So it's up to you how softly you want to do that. And as you can see, for now we're starting to build the shape of the face. But even these, I don't want to keep the strong shape here, that's why I blend it a little bit. And somewhere I need the really dark points, like here for instance. That helped me to show the light better. And to make the good relationship to my hair and this part, I make some touching like that. So we show the hair in the same moment. And we go on to this part. This time I take the more darker pigments. I make the soft connection to this. And you see, I'm not preparing my paper here with the water before. It's because I want to make it, this part, finish it with a dry brush stroke, like this. I like that texture. And we're back to the idea of the shiny light again. Softly, like this. For my feeling, that's really real watercolor. I'm starting to use the Cobalt, and at one time just a few lines with a calligraphy brush, and after that immediately switch to the soft brush to make another one nice connection. So it perfectly works together. And plus here I use just a little bit Quinacridone Sienna to make again good connection. With a bigger brush I finished my background here. Now time to touch the skin. I switch to the 3 lines brush again. We're back to mix between mostly the Sienna and just a little bit Pure and Violet. So now we connect everything together, you can see that. So it looks pretty good. Brilliant. So as you can see, all our shapes made by the negative space. That's what we're gonna study today. Now you know how extremely important is that. Why I did it first? Normally I keep that negative space in my mind. I know how it should be look like around. Finally. That's why normally I'm starting to paint from the eyes, lips, nose, create the main subject, the face, and just right after that back to the negative space. So today, just to explain your idea, we make it first. Now you can see how much light we have here. So, and you can see what all this part not dark enough. So that's what we have to care about. But before we just make a few more touching to finish it, our space there. I back that shape a little bit softly, like this. Look nice. A little bit more touching, darker touching here. I need the contrast point there. Good. So we're done with that. Wait at least 10 minutes, then it will be ready. We continue to finish our painting. For all the strong shadows on the face, I use my calligraphy brush, and like we did before, Sienna, Pure and Violet, a little bit Indigo. We don't add the other colors. For sure, you can spend a lot of time to build the perfect eyes. If you want to do that, no problem. I don't. I don't want to do this. I want to make the soft and simple, fresh sketch. That's why I'm not paying attention to that at all. So I make my eyes simple. But if you want to make it more close to the photo, feel free. For this lesson, for this course today, it's not important. At once we will make the perfect eyes, I promise it you. Remember about the soft blending times to times. The same washout effect to make the soft connection together. Looks great. We don't want to spend a lot of time to build the shape of the glasses, so that's why I make it just kind of simple. Again, it's up to you. If you want to pay attention to all the details, feel free. It's not the point of that lesson, but sometimes I'm just enjoy the painting glasses, sunglasses, all the details what we have, like all that stuff, times to times. Not today. And I like the shadows from the sunglasses what we have here, so I definitely want to create it. First of all, that helped me to show the shape of the subject, because the shadows going on the shape, and it's very visible and understandable and help us to understand everything. So I like it, and I'm gonna use that. And times to times I still use washout. I don't need a very strong shadows like this. I really want to do that special because I like that shadows as well, and that's the trick. I'm gonna connect everything together. Because we put the shadow on the correct shape, let's make our subjects look 3D immediately. And real. Let's finish this part. Plus, for now, I switch to a little bit bigger brush to finish that as well. And one trick with a calligraphy brush. Looks good. Just a few more touching for the eyes to keep the dark point like a dark point. That's important. And you see how we did it here. So I switch to that side and do the same. And I use that like a negative space to build the shape of my nose too. And after that I'm softly mix it with water. So talking about the nose, it's a very important idea. Look at that. All the shadows here are very soft. Going down is going to be darker but softly. And there is no border, but the shadow from the ball very visible. So that's why shadow on the nose soft, shadows from the nose on the lip, it's very visible shadow. I will show you what I mean. I use just the water here, and after that starting to use the pigments. Now you see what I mean. A little bit more darker there, plus I will build the shape of the shadow correctly. That's another important idea, because that helps me to explain the shape of the subject. Wash out as we did before to make the highlights. I stopped there, but I back to this. So now I want to make the, you see that's helped me to show the smiling, so I make something like that here as well. Very soft touching, but lady starting to smile a little bit. Wash out again, soft blending. We back to the nose a little bit later to make some details, and for now I'm going to make the lips. If you want to make your lady smile a little bit, put it up. Just a little bit like this. Not bad. We go on to that side. We continue the shadow from the nose. And it's important. And after that we slowly connect it to the shadows what we did before. To finish it, this part we have to back to that to make just a few dark accents, but a little bit later, not now. It should be dry for this. Waiting till it's dry, we can make a few touching here, but as you can see it's almost done. For the past sketch it's not bad job. So I'll take the concentrated mix with our three colors and just make the touch in here. There. So blending. Dark touching on the nose. There we have a pretty dark shadow here, so we have to care about that. As you can see, our lady is done. So just to remind you the steps. We make the sketch, we put the water on the back, which give us a time to play with the pigments. We're starting to create the light part of the face, just the light. Remember the rules, we always painting from lights to shadow. And then it will be done with all our soft ingredients. We're starting to use a dry brush and the negative space to make the contrast and bring the light in our painting. So that's the simple step. As I promised you, each lesson will make it in the different way. So this way number one. I like that way. I'm using this a lot. Just remember, normally I put the negative space after I finish my face, because that helped me to understand how dark the negative space should be, how big contrast I want to use in my negative space. If it's done before, I have to adjust not the background to the face, I have to adjust my face to the background, which is a little bit more complicated. Thank you very much for your time. I wish you good luck with the practice, stay healthy, and see you on the next course. Bye bye.